It's embarrassing how much better these 10 classic gangster movies are compared to anything made today. The crime genre remains popular, but its golden age, the time of mean streets, and the Godfather, is far behind us. While today's crime flicks might have flashier editing and bigger budgets, they rarely capture what made the classics so intoxicating: moral complexity, real danger, and the sense that these worlds meant something. The best gangster films of the past weren't just about violence. Instead, they were about loyalty, power, identity, and the crumbling American dream. Many of today's mob stories feel like pale imitations desperately trying to replicate the success of far superior efforts. In fact, watching some of the all-time best gangster movies proves just how much better the genre used to be compared to everything made today. The 10 masterpieces on this list still bleed authenticity, putting most modern efforts to shame. Miller's Crossing, 1990. I'm talking about friendship. I'm talking about character. I'm talking about hell, Leo. I'm talking about ethics. No one writes crime dialogue like Joel and Ethan Coen, and no one stages betrayal with such operatic wit. Their early 90s gem. Miller's Crossing takes the hard-boiled tradition of Dashiell Hammett and twists it into something both mythic and absurd. Gabriel Byrne's Tom Reagan is the quintessential Coen antihero, too clever for his own good, trapped between gang loyalties and his crumbling conscience. The violence in the movie is stylized but not glamorized. Instead, it's brutal, lonely, and poetic. Every frame is suffused with smoky atmosphere, and every line feels etched in whiskey and regret. The haunting Danny Boy assassination sequence remains a standout in the Coen's formidable filmography. All in all, Miller's Crossing manages to feel simultaneously classic postmodern, a symphony of loyalty and doom. One of the quirkiest gangster movies of its era. Casino, 1995. There are three ways of doing things around here: the right way, the wrong way, and the way that I do it. Casino might be Scorsese's most visually stunning crime movie, and perhaps the most emotionally ruthless. It's a blood-soaked love letter to Las Vegas and the dying days of old-school organized crime. Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, and Joe Pesci deliver volcanic performances, each embodying a different face of corruption, greed, addiction, and fury. Their performances are amplified by the direction. From the first frame, Marty's storytelling feels symphonic. The editing, the music, the narration, all fusing into something hypnotic. The opening explosion, set to Bach, is practically religious. But beneath the flash and glitz, Casino is a tragedy disguised as spectacle. It's a story about people who confuse control with security, who build empires on sand. Stone's Ginger is an especially heartbreaking creation, both predator and victim, her downfall among Scorsese's most devastating. All these choices demonstrate a level of ambition that modern crime movies rarely reach. Mean Streets, 1973. You don't make up for your sins in church. You do it in the streets. Marty Strikes Again. Before Goodfellas, before The Irishman, there was Mean Streets. This raw, jittery movie was Scorsese's first crime masterpiece. It isn't about mob bosses or lavish mansions or grand showdowns. Rather, its focus is street level, almost mundane. Mean Streets is about small-time hustlers, Catholic guilt, and the suffocating gravity of loyalty. Harvey Keitel's Charlie is torn between his faith and his friendships, while Robert De Niro's Johnny Boy is pure chaos, unpredictable, self-destructive, and magnetic. The handheld cinematography and naturalistic energy make everything feel authentic, almost confessional. The bar fights, the neon glow, the jump-in jack flash in trance. All of it feels alive in a way that no digital polish could replicate. Much of the success is due to Scorsese's familiarity with this world and its inhabitants. Modern crime cinema rarely feels this close to the bone. City of God, 2002. If you run, the beast catches you. If you stay, the beast eats you. City of God may have been released in the 21st century, but it feels like the last gasp of true gangster epic filmmaking. Fernando Meirelles and Katia Lund depict life in Rio's favelas with kinetic energy and devastating realism. They introduce us to kids growing up surrounded by drugs, crime, and violence, bringing their stories to life through dizzying camera work, hyper-precise editing, and a cast of mostly non-professional actors. The result is pure immersion. You can feel the heat, the dust, the desperation. The stakes feel real, making the bursts of violence hit even harder. The movie's brilliance lies in its refusal to glamorize violence. It shows how the myth of power destroys everyone who buys into it, from wide-eyed kids to ruthless gang leaders. Few recent gangster movies have matched City of God's combination of artistry and authenticity. It was quickly canonized as a modern classic. The Untouchables, 1987. They pull a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. Brian De Palma's The Untouchables is gangster filmmaking as pure myth. Every shot and every line of dialogue feels larger than life, stylized, operatic, and utterly confident. The actors all rise to the occasion. Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness embodies law and morality. Sean Connery gives one of his most commanding performances as a grizzled mentor, shaky accent, notwithstanding. And Robert De Niro's Al Capone is pure theater, charming one moment, monstrous the next. The film's centerpiece, a staircase shootout inspired by Battleship Potemkin, is a masterclass in suspense and visual storytelling. The finishing touch is the score by Ennio Morricone, which soars like a hymn for violence. Ultimately, while The Untouchables has its flaws and arguably fell short of expectations, it still represents a mode of filmmaking that has largely faded into history. It aims for greatness and mostly achieves it. Scarface, 1983. Say Hello to My Little Friend. While The Untouchables was a strong effort, De Palma's defining crime movie is, without a doubt, Scarface. Few gangster movies have burned themselves into pop culture like this one. Written by Oliver Stone, it's both outrageous and operatic, a fever dream of excess and ambition. Al Pacino's Tony Montana is a performance for the ages, a snarling, paranoid, endlessly quotable symbol of the American dream gone rabid. Every line drips with greed and desperation. Say hello to my little friend is less a catchphrase than a death chant. The star would slip into hamminess over the coming years, but here he's pitch perfect. On the directing side, De Palma's visual style, neon-drenched, cocaine-fueled, and baroque, gives the whole thing a surreal energy, perhaps intended to mimic a drug-addled high. Yet beneath the chaos, there's also emotion and loss. Tony may be a monster, but that's primarily because he mistakes violence for freedom.